There is a specific type of pain that happens on the last Sunday of every month. It's the day the rent is due. You hand over $1,500, $2,500, or maybe $5,000, and you get nothing in return. No equity, no asset, just a receipt. But here is the psychological bomb the banks don't want you to understand. The desire to own a house isn't really about shelter. Shelter is cheap. You can get shelter in a studio apartment. The obsessive 2 a.m. Zillow scrolling, the HGTV addiction, the gut-wrenching jealousy when your friend buys a fixer-upper, that is about three dark, primal psychological forces that have been weaponized by modern society. Today, we are dissecting the psychology of housebesitz, the dream of ownership. And by the end of this, you'll either realize why you actually want a house or why you never needed one in the first place. Let's get inside the head of the buyer. Point number 1, the primal urge for territory. Deep in your brainstem, you have hardware left over from 100,000 years ago. Psychologists call it the territorial imperative. It's why you get angry when someone sits at your table in the coffee shop. Renting is a violation of this instinct. When you rent, you are a guest. The landlord has the keys. The landlord chooses the paint color. You cannot knock down a wall. To the lizard brain, a renter is a nomad. A nomad is vulnerable. A nomad gets eaten by the wolf. The desire to own is the desire for immunity. When you own the dirt, you decide who enters. You build the fence. You control the environment. But here is the irrational twist. Studies show that homeowners do not actually feel safer from crime than renters in the same neighborhood. Statistically, the risk is the same. Yet the perception of safety skyrockets when you own. Why? Because a mortgage turns anxiety into agency. When the pipes burst in a rental, it's a crisis. When they burst in your own house, it's a problem, but it's your problem. And the brain craves agency over safety. Point 2. The projection of self. Psychologist Carl Rogers spoke about the ideal self, the person you wish you were. A rental is a hand-me-down identity. You are living in someone else's past. But a house is a blank canvas for your ego. Every single choice, the matte black faucet, the specific shade of blue on the accent wall, the monstera plant in the corner, is a declaration. This is who I am. We call this environmental psychology. It's the theory that our surroundings literally change our cognition. When you live in a transient space, rentals, you live in a temporary mindset. You don't plant a garden because you might move. You don't build the bookshelf. You stay in survival mode. The pursuit of a house is the pursuit of permanence. It allows your brain to shift from, what if I have to leave, to, how do I optimize this? But here is the shadow side. For many, this turns into performative ownership. The house becomes a status battlefield. It's not about comfort, it's about winning the street. Keeping up with the Joneses isn't a phrase about cars. It's about the facade of the single-family home. Point 3. This is the darkest one. The hedge against oblivion. The most terrifying part of being human is knowing we die. Renting reminds you of your temporality. Every lease renewal is a quiet whisper. You don't really belong here. A house is a monument. It is a physical object that you hope will outlive you. When people obsess over building equity, they aren't just thinking about retirement. They are thinking about legacy. Psychologically, the house represents the extended self. It is the only asset most people will ever own that survives their death. I want you to listen to the language we use. We don't say, I am buying a loan. We say, I am buying my dream. We don't say, I am acquiring a liability. We say, I am putting down roots. Roots tie you to the earth so you don't blow away in the wind of time. This is why the goal is so painful. Real estate is slow. It takes 30 years. waiting 30 years for a psychological payoff creates massive anxiety. It's the marshmallow test on steroids. But here is the radical psychological truth I promised you. Most people don't want a house. They want the feeling they think a house will give them. They want control, but a house brings surprise roof leaks. They want identity, but empty rooms don't fill the void. They want legacy, but your kids will likely sell the house the minute you're gone. Studies on subjective well-being show that the happiness spike from buying a house lasts exactly 3 months. After that, you adapt. It becomes the new normal. And the stress of maintenance often outweighs the joy of ownership for neurotic personalities. The healthiest psychological relationship with a house is to see it as a tool, not a salvation. So, if you are destroying your mental health to save for a down payment, ask yourself this one question. Are you chasing the house, or are you chasing the person you think you'll become when you finally unlock the front door? You don't need a deed to build a sanctuary. You need security, identity, and legacy. You can find security in a savings account, identity in your work, legacy in your children or your art. The key is to stop renting your life from the future. You get one life. Don't spend it all waiting for a closing date. If you want to understand the psychology of money and happiness, hit subscribe, because the most interesting room in any house is the one between your ears.